Hi guys. This is Sunday morning me, and I've been thinking a lot about what I want to share with my vlog and just stuff like that. And today I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about kind of where I'm at right now. So I'm going to try and not get emotional, but I'm me. That's probably not going to happen. Anyway, so in February I took a job. It got me out of Target, which was huge because I was walking 9 miles a day on concrete floors, and it was really taking a toll on my body, and we were constantly having to worry every month on whether or not we were going to make our rent. So this job was an amazing opportunity. It literally fell into my lap thanks to a mutual friend, and I would have been a fool to not try it. 4 months later, I know for sure this is not a good fit for me. And I am putting things into place in order to move on. And it's scary as hell. But I'm not in a healthy place. I had a stress dream last night that I missed the online interview that I have on Monday that's going to help me get a much better fitting position in a different field. And the stress that I'm under to meet the demands that are asked of for this position when I'm not is just, it's really been wearing. I've been pretty depressed. And so I guess I want to talk about finding your spark again. I know because I lost mine this last year. And honestly, that was part and parcel of why I started Bedtime Stories, because I didn't have it in me to write. I don't know if all of you know this, but I have 4 short stories that have been published. I am currently working on at least 2 novels. Well, currently. I have 2 full novels that are in progress, let's put it that way. And I was so physically exhausted, I was so mentally and emotionally exhausted that I had nothing left to give to my work. And I didn't like that. And I'm finding myself in that place again. Which means I need to take care of me. And since coming to that realization, this last week was an emotional roller coaster. I feel bad for Nick. He's had to put up with me. But since coming to that decision, since realizing that, no, I just need to, move on. And it's stressful because there's part of me that's afraid I'm going to get fired. I've never been fired from a job before. And yet there could be benefits to getting fired, which is just still so weird for my brain to be wrapped around. But since coming to that realization, since starting to put the dominoes, let's put it that way, since I've started to stack up the dominoes to create my egress, for my Terry Pratchett fans. But no, since I've started to lay the breadcrumbs to find my way out, I've already started laughing more. The creativity will come back. My writing will come back. I know now I'm not a good fit for an office job. And I need to go back to what I'm good at, which honestly is working with kids. So, hey, I'm going to be hopefully within like the next 2 weeks. Cross all your fingers, please. I'm going to be working with a nanny agency, and I'm going to find a really great position that honestly is probably going to pay me more than this office job is paying me. And I'll get to work with kids, and I'll get to have more variety in my daily life. I'll get to be active. I'll get to hopefully inspire and see creativity. And I know that's going to help mine come back. I told you I wasn't going to cry. I'm up here getting ready to record the next episode of Bedtime Stories. And I can't even explain how grateful I am that Shirley Rousseau Murphy told me that I could. Because I've had so much fun with them. And the response to Bedtime Stories has just completely blown my mind. We've had over 8,000 downloads already since I started last October. I had the idea for it because I wanted to be able to be part of my nieces and nephews' lives when I'm not going to get to see them as often anymore because I live in Colorado and they're in Minnesota and New Hampshire. And I miss those little guys. So I was like, well, I can read them stories. And apparently, all you guys like them too. So, thank you. Thank you for supporting Lantern Audio Works. Thank you for listening. If you haven't considered becoming a patron yet, I highly encourage you to do so. Because the work that NJ Sullivan's doing on his podcasts, like, you would get to experience them in full stereo, which you don't get to through the platforms that we use. And it adds so much to the stories. And our live recordings of Punks in the Library. We have a merchandise store. Guys, we made our first sales yesterday on the merchandise store. People bought some Lantern Audio Works stickers, a Punks in the Library tumbler, a Bedtime Stories with Celosia Crane coffee mug. We've got all sorts of cool stuff. I've got kids' clothes on there for Bedtime Stories. Kids, toddlers, there's onesies. We're going to be putting together a future lit punk onesie because, yeah, please go and check that out too. That's lanternaudioworks.com. And we've got some really cool things that we want to do in June with Pride Month and supporting the Trevor Project. Because no kid deserves to be... I don't care who you are. No kid deserves that. So I'm very thankful for the work that the Trevor Project does to help support people who need that support. We can do better, guys. Anyway, that's my emotional vlog for this week. And I will keep you guys updated. And I will see you again next Saturday. Okay, so about ready to start recording, and I kind of wanted to show you guys this. So my copy of Soonie the Dragon, I got, I think I might have stolen it from friends of ours when I was in middle school. I don't even remember, but I remember reading it first at their house. And I would say my copy is a bit foxed because the binding isn't supposed to do that. This is a weekly reader's book. Do you guys remember those? Look at that. And even here you can see it's splitting. Like, the pages of this book are literally going to come out of the binding. And this particular copy was published in 1979. And there's artwork in it. And I have to show you guys because I find the drawings absolutely adorable. Here is Soonie painting her wagon. And there's the old mare. And there's the hound. You guys want to see the dragon? You want to see the dragon. Because, are you ready? That's the dragon. All right, I found one more for you. So this last Sunday, which is May 16th, I read the first episode of Soonie and the King, which now, I was going to say, now that I say that, there's not going to be any pictures in the first half. Well, there is one, and that is Soonie climbing the tree in the fog-bound glade, trying to figure out how she is going to escape. And I'm about to record the part where she defeats the king and escapes. So do you want to come along? Do you want come along? Maybe I should do some diction exercises before I actually start recording. All right, here we go. Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to Bedtime Stories with Celosia Crane for part 2 of Soonie and the Dragon. And I'm not going to prevaricate any longer. We're just going to jump right in because we left Soonie trapped in a forest glade with a wall of fog that was like iron. She hasn't eaten for several days, and she's been taunted with fairy food. But she knows if she eats the fairy food, she will lose her immortal soul. So let's get right back to it. That night, the king came. He was in a cold fury that she had not touched the fine fairy feast. The roast fowls were still steaming, the ices still cold, the smell more delectable than ever. You cannot lick sand forever, sweet Soonie. Roots and grain will not last. There will be no more moles in this glade. You will die of hunger, lovely Soonie. And then, very softly, or will you come to me? I will not die, and I will not eat of your food or drink, Soonie spat defiantly. The next day she was hungrier than ever and nearly too thirsty to bear. Near to evening she saw a bird fly into the glade and land in the top of the oak. Soonie climbed up and found its nest and ate the 2 eggs it had laid there. She apologized to the bird with tears in her eyes and wondered if it heeded her. That night the king came again. He was in a terrible temper that she had not touched the roast duck or roast pheasant or quail or the fine ices, the little cakes and butter. Sand will not quench your thirst, sweet Soonie. That bird will not return. Will you come to me and be my queen and know life without death? Life full of joy, never ending? Not and lose my immortal soul, king of the fairies. You are nothing but a coward. If you were as brave and as fine as a king should be, you would challenge me to a fair battle, and if I won, you would let me go free. The king laughed. Should I challenge you to jousting then? Look. He gestured, and his fine steed stood. Fine steed. Okay, where are we starting? He gestured, and his... Hang on. You're not supposed to be going out of there. Okay, let me try that again. Okay. Oh, feck. Hang on. Save project. Gotta close and reopen, folks. I'll see you later. You could challenge me, Soonie said evenly, holding her temper with effort. You could challenge me. The horses had disappeared. To a game of chess, Fairy King. If I win, I go free from here. Chess. Chess is a man's game. Is it? The king looked at her a long time. Oh, he was a handsome young man with his dark curling hair and disturbing golden eyes. She stared back at him defiantly. I challenge you, King of the Fairies. Are you too cowardly to play chess with a woman? The king sighed. As you like, sweet Soonie. He raised his hand again. A fine chessboard appeared, inlaid with onyx and rosewood and jade, and set upon a carven ivory table. Silken benches stood at either side. The chessmen were most wonderfully carved, though curiously ugly. Soonie sat down opposite the king and took the first move as he directed. All went well enough in the beginning, but at Soonie's fifth move, her knight seemed to shift position. She was set to take the king's pawn, or thought she was, but her knight shifted back 2 squares from where she thought it had been. She stared at the king. His face was as impassive as her knight was his queen. Hang on. All right. I think it was his face was impassive as his knight took her queen. His face was impassive as he took her knight with his queen. All right. His face was impassive as he took her knight with his queen. Her next move shifted, and her next. When she lifted her hand from a pawn, it was on a different square than the one she had placed it on, and she hadn't seen it move, and surely the king hadn't touched it. She lost 2 more pawns, another knight, and her bishop. She could not see how it happened. Her men were never where she had put them. The fairy king was very near to winning, and Soonie sat hands folded, studying the board. She was very much frightened now, for if she lost this game, her immortal soul would be forfeit. She studied the innocent face of the king. Then suddenly, as she reached for her queen, Soonie thought the little figure blinked. Blinked? Soonie gazed at the queen. Had she blinked? She reached out and began to tickle that diminutive figure. The queen began to giggle. Soonie snatched her up and tickled her till the little thing doubled over with laughter, wriggling and silly as a kitchen maid. So this is how you play, King of Fairies? Well, I'd rather be dead than be queen to such as you. Another illustration. You ready? My poor book. There she is, tickling the queen. They're so delightful. Soonie flung over the chessboard with one angry brush of her hand and watched the carven men go running off into the foggy wood. Piskies! They were piskies! You have forfeited the game by cheating, and I have won, and you must set me free. The king said nothing. Stony-faced, he pointed the way of Soonie's escape, and she saw the foggy wall part for her and fled through it into the wood, never looking back at him. Well, she walked and walked in the wood, but try as she might, she could not find the way to her wagon. She grew hungrier and so awfully thirsty and so discouraged and angry that she wept. I'm going to leave you guys here. I'm going to finish recording this episode, and I will see you guys again next week. Bye.